welcome. It is good to be with you again. Someone asked me to say a few words about free will and predestination. I've already talked to you about those things, but we forget. So, we talk about the same things again and again. If everything is predetermined, where does free will come in? For instance, if someone has cancer and they're dying, and this is predetermined, everything is predetermined. So should that person use their free will to try to heal themselves? Or should they just let themselves die? This is quite a paradox, but it's easily resolved as soon as you ask yourself, for whom is their free will? Who is the person that predetermines anything? And you tell me, the inner guru. The inner guru knows the time when you're going to be enlightened, and that time cannot change. So again, where does free will come in? I ask you again, for whom is there free will? Free will is for the ego. Free will is just another game. And as far as things being predetermined, that's also part of the game. It appears as if everything is predetermined, just as it appears that you have free will. But I say to you that there is only the self, and you are that. Does the self care about free will or predetermination? You do. Can't you see the error you're making? You're so concerned about free will and predetermination. It's like being concerned with what came first, the tree or the seed, the chicken or the egg. That's how it is when you're concerning yourself with free will and predetermination. There is no real answer. It's part of the game. Everything is predetermined. Even when I raise my hand like this, it's predetermined. Everything is preordained. It has been pre-planned before you came into birth. But don't you see the truth? The truth is you were never born. You never came into birth. Therefore, there is nothing that's predetermined because you don't even exist. In reality, you don't exist, but you keep thinking about your life, about your body, about your affairs, about circumstances, about if everything is predetermined or if you've got free will. Who thinks about these things? You do. But you think you exist, otherwise you wouldn't react to conditions. So by saying you don't exist, that's the highest state of consciousness, where you do not really exist. It's like a dream. But as far as you're concerned, as long as you react to conditions, as long as you react to person, place, or thing, then you believe you exist. You are your pure self, and there is no sickness, there is no body. There is no one that is born. There is no one that dies. There is no one that goes through experiences. But as long as you believe you do, then you have to work on yourself until the day comes when all of these things begin to drop away. First I talk about the body. I talk about where you're coming from. I talk about what you see. And then I say to you, all this is false imagination. It is all false imagination. Only reality exists. Only pure awareness exists. Pure awareness is silence. Pure awareness is where there is no question, there is no answer, there is no body, there is no one interested about knowing anything. Your imagination. If you want to use your imagination to cure sickness, you will, but then other sickness will come, death will come, everything will come, and you'll spend your life curing yourself. Rather than doing that, why don't you find out who you really are and understand your divine nature? When you understand your divine nature, there is no room for sickness. There is no room for anything. There is no room for health. Whatever you say, however you feel, whatever you think. But the day will come when you will awaken to the fact that you are not the doer, you are not the body, you are not the mind. Until that day comes, you do the best you can with what you've got. But I say to you again, the more you quiet your mind, the greater experience you'll have. As you're beginning to stop identifying with the world so much, and you stop seeing things and reacting to them, you are going to find that you become happier and happier. That joy wells up in your heart. You become peaceful, and everything will be all right. Then it wouldn't even matter what's going on in your body if you had sickness or whatever is going on. You will not see it that way. I admit it's sort of a hard thing to comprehend. When a person like Ramakrishna or Ramana Maharshi or others were dying a terrible death of cancer themselves, the question is, who sees that? Who feels that? Certainly the sages did not feel that, but you did. You feel it for them. That is your story. That is how you see things. But I say to you that no one died of cancer. No one died, for no one ever existed. To die, you have to exist. To become sick, you have to be well. To go up, you have to go down. To go forward, you have to go backward. Now ask yourself, what have I got to do with all of those things? You are free. You are Sat Chit Ananda. You are Parabrahman. If you can only learn to keep your mind on the source, never mind what the world shows you. Never mind what the world gives you. Never mind what is going on in your affairs or in the world. Identify with the source. And how do you identify with the source? By abiding in the I. The I is really the source. As you abide in the I, and the I goes further and further and deeper within yourself. it turns into the source, which you have always been and which you are now. So right now you're like the sun that's covered with clouds. You look at the clouds and you don't see the sun, but you know you're the sun. And you try to tell everybody that you're the sun, but everybody looks up and sees the clouds. So you're saying that you are reality, but the clouds are your body, your mind, and your affairs. All you can identify with right now, even though you say you are reality, is your body, your mind, and your affairs. And that's like identifying with the clouds. The truth is, the sun is above the clouds. It always shines. There never is a time when it does not shine. But you are seeing only the clouds, so whose fault is that? What can you do? So you run to gurus, you run to teachers, you run to India, you run to Hawaii. You run all over looking for answers. Yet the real answer is within yourself. The time has to come when you stop running. You stop searching. You stop reading. You stop wanting. You simply look at yourself as the source. When you look at yourself as the source, the light begins to shine brighter and brighter, and soon you're cooked and you're out of this world. Even though you're in a body, therefore do not judge by appearances. Do not look at facts. Facts are subject to change. Anything that does not last forever cannot be the truth. So if you think you've got problems, it's only because you're not seeing yourself from the right viewpoint. You're identifying with the problems. You're identifying with the world, with your body. But yet, if you see it in the right perspective, you will understand that it has taken you many, many incarnations, so to speak, to even be where you are right now. This is why we must always be thankful. If right now I were wasting away, or I appear to be wasting away as a body, from leprosy, cancer, and every other horrible disease known to man, I would be thankful. Thankful that this is the last of it and I'll be free. When you have a thankful attitude, it's like identifying with God, with the self. But when you complain and you see things wrong with yourself and the world, what you're really saying karmically is, I want more of that. The law of karma only knows what you feel in your mind, and if you feel something is wrong. The law of karma doesn't care why you feel something is wrong. But as long as you feel something is wrong, it'll get worse. But when you look at the situation from a different viewpoint and you see it as something that is subject to change, no material thing lasts forever. Therefore, sickness, lack, limitation, and the rest of these so-called negatives are not reality, so they do not last forever. They must change. When will they change? When you take your mind off them and identify with the source. How do you identify with the source? So you ask, to whom do these things come? They come to me. I feel them. Who am I? Where did the I come from? And you follow the I thread. You trace the I to the source, and you can say it's located on the right side of your chest. As I said before, twice before, 100 times before. You can see the source on the right side of your chest as your favorite deity, or you can see it as a sphere of light like the sun, only 1,000,000 times brighter. And you see your I dissolving in the source. And then the I becomes I am, and you have now become the self. You haven't actually become the self. You've always been the self. You have rather awakened to the fact that you are the self and all of the nonsense about sickness or health, or money or poverty, or happiness or misery, are no longer a part of your life. You're just free of the whole thing. The choice is always yours. I can lead you to the vein of gold, but you better do your own mining. I can keep telling you that you are absolute reality, that you are ultimate oneness, that you are nirvana, emptiness. Your true nature is pure awareness, para-Brahman. And this alone should lift you up and make you understand that you are not the other things. But you have to keep up realizing that you are that. When you leave here today and you walk out the door, what happens to you? Most of you begin to identify with what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch. That's the mistake you're making. You begin to act like the doer. You have to totally surrender to the self. Your whole life, your happiness, your sadness, your health, your sickness, your lack, your abundance. They're all two sides of the same coin. Everything has to be surrendered. Think how joyful you will be when you mentally surrender everything to the source. All the responsibility is off your shoulder. You no longer have to wonder about what you should eat, what you should wear, whether you should take vitamins, or whether you should go and see a movie, whether you should go find a healer, whether you should go to India or find a spiritual teacher. Those questions will no longer come into your mind when you totally surrender. Totally. Completely. Absolutely. You will be empty. Free. and then you will understand. There are two ways you can work with this. You either practice Atma Vichara, self-inquiry, or you totally surrender to God, which is surrendering to yourself. You have the free will to do that. Remember, when we talk about free will is only for the ego. Does God need free will? What you call God is all-pervading, omnipresent. If something is all-pervading, there is no room for anything else. So how can there be God or the self in your problems? That's virtually impossible. Don't you see there is no room for your problems? But somehow you've been mesmerized. The illusion is you think and things happen. Who told you you have to think? The illusion is the belief that if I don't think, my world will fall apart. I've got to think about my business. I've got to think about my health. I've got to think about the world. I've got to think about karma or predestination or free will. Who said you do? The world has gone on before you came into existence in your present body. It didn't need you at all. And it will go on after you appear to leave. Therefore, what have you got to think about? Why do you think I have to think, or I have to do this or that? Or if I don't do that, somebody will take advantage of me. If I do not retaliate, people will laugh at me. That's thinking. And that's called false thinking. True surrender is when you allow the world to do whatever it does, but you're never involved in it again. Mentally, that is. You will go to your work. If you're supposed to get married, you'll get married. If you're supposed to get divorced, you'll get divorced. If you're supposed to have children, you'll have children. If you're supposed to live in a nice house, you'll live in a nice house. If you're supposed to live in a shack, you'll live in a shack. Everything will take care of itself without you thinking. Stop thinking that you matter so much, that you're so important. You're a grain of dust in the wind. Here today and gone tomorrow. Now that is the appearance. That's how it seems. You have to see yourself for what you really are. When things happen, you always have to ask, to whom do they happen? Who is going through the experience? If you do this enough, I can assure you something will give. But what is enough? I get calls from people that are here today, people that are not here today. They tell me they've been practicing for 2 whole days now and nothing has happened. They've been practicing for 6 months. The whole understanding is you give up looking for anything to happen. That has to go. After all, whom is it to happen to? To your ego, to your small self. You are not that. As you surrender every day, as you practice self-inquiry, the first signs you will see will be signs of peace and happiness. The things that used to annoy you will stop. The chip on your shoulder will fall away. You will no longer be annoyed by people. You will understand. As you continue to unfold, you will begin to realize that you are all the people. There is no one separate from you. As Emerson said, I am my brother, and my brother is me. And you will treat others the way you treat yourself. And as you keep unfolding, you will see that there is only one self. And what you do to others, you're doing to yourself. It all happens in due time. But if you're still selfish and you still have a big ego, everything is going to ruffle your feathers. When somebody bumps into you, you will think they did it on purpose, and you will look for an argument. If someone looks at you the wrong way, you will imagine what they're thinking and perhaps insult them. You will see things that do not exist, but you will believe they do. The bigger your ego is, the more of that takes place in your life. I therefore say to you, it makes no difference what is going on in your life at the present time. Drop it. Leave it alone. Live in the moment. Be spontaneous. Forget about yesterday. Forget about the way you were brought up, what happened to you, who hurt you. That's the past. Surrender it. Totally and completely. Do not concern yourself with the future. For the substratum of all existence is divine harmony. There is nothing but good, happiness, and love. That's what is awaiting you. In order to experience it, you have to see it. The question I ask you is, what do you see right now? Do you see yourself as a miserable, sickly person? As an old person? As a person with problems? Why do you see that? Because that's how it appears. Doesn't water appear in the mirage? But the water's not real. Doesn't the rope appear as a snake? The snake is not real. Doesn't the sky appear as blue? And yet there is no sky and there is no blue. In the same way, whatever appears to be going on in your own life is only for a time. It only appears to exist It's like watching a movie. You identify with the movie, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that's it. But while the movie was going on, you identified with it. You didn't think of anything else. Now you are identifying with the movie called your life. You appear separate. You appear as if you're involved in this and involved in that. But I say to you that you are already free. You are already bright and shining. You are already absolute reality. Pure awareness. That is your nature. Why do you want to cause so many problems for yourself? By continuing to think and imagining that things have to be this way and things have to be that way. And you have preconceived ideas of the way that you're supposed to live or the way you think you're supposed to live. So you set up goals and then you try to reach the goals. And as many of you know, when you do reach the goals, they are really never what you really expected. So you set up new goals. It never ends. And because you're so involved in setting up goals, the Lord of Karma makes it easier for you. He lets you continue in another body. You are therefore born into a family with goals, and they've got goals for you. And the goals never stop. It's unending. Until you're ready to say, wait a minute. Who needs this? What is it going to lead to? A semblance of wisdom begins to make you understand, I have been searching for the wrong things. For everything in this world is subject to the law of change. Nothing is permanent, including this world. You begin to turn within. You begin to realize the happiness that dwells in your heart. You begin to talk less, to think less, to complain less, to criticize less. You begin to leave everyone alone, to leave the world alone. When you see a situation that is not pleasing to your mind, you reevaluate it and you understand where it's coming from and what it is. You become peaceful, harmonious. It is only really then that you can begin working on yourself and practicing self-inquiry. But as long as you're filled with hours and times, and you're always thinking about your body or your affairs, it's best if you surrender these things. Give them all to God. Give up everything. Get rid of your needs, your wants. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You are greater than you think. Do not think past your nose. The world will come. The world will go. But reality has always been where the world appears to be. And you are that.